Are you over 75 and still walking every single day, yet feeling weaker, heavier, and less stable than before? That question hit me hard one morning, because I was doing everything I was told was enough, and my body was quietly telling a different story. For years I walked religiously. Same route, same pace, same belief. As long as I kept moving, I would stay independent. Walking felt safe, familiar, reassuring. And at first it worked, or at least I thought it did. But somewhere along the way, subtle things started changing. My legs felt heavier when I stood up from a chair. My balance wasn't as automatic as it used to be. I noticed a brief hesitation before stepping off a curb, something I had never questioned before. What scared me wasn't pain. It was the sensation of delay, that moment where my body didn't respond instantly. I told myself it was normal aging. I told myself walking was still enough. But deep down, something felt off. One morning, after my usual walk, I tried to get up from the couch and felt that familiar stiffness again. Not soreness. Stiffness mixed with uncertainty. I realized that walking made me tired, but it wasn't making me feel more capable. My circulation felt sluggish. My legs didn't feel energized. And worst of all, my confidence while moving was slowly fading. That's when it clicked. Walking was keeping me busy, but it wasn't training what I was actually losing after 75. Control, stability, and deep strength. I wasn't falling yet. But I could feel how close I was to that invisible line where one wrong step changes everything. I started paying attention to other seniors around me. Many of them walked every day too, and yet they struggled with balance, relied on armrests to stand, and avoided uneven ground. It wasn't laziness. It wasn't lack of effort. It was that walking alone wasn't speaking the same language the aging body needs to hear. That realization was uncomfortable, because it meant I had to question a habit I trusted for decades. And it forced me to ask a new question. If walking isn't enough anymore, what actually is? That question led me to something I never expected. And what I discovered next changed how my body feels every single day. If what I just shared feels familiar, don't keep it to yourself. Understanding why your body is changing after 75 is the first step to staying independent, and engagement helps reinforce that understanding. Take a moment to pause and reflect, then write a comment below telling me your age and whether walking still feels enough for you. I read every single comment, and your experience might help someone else feel less alone in this. If this perspective is already making you think differently about your body, support the channel by tapping the like button. It tells the algorithm, and more importantly, it tells me, that this kind of honest, functional conversation matters. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now. These videos are built to help you keep control, balance, and confidence as the years go on. Now that we've set the foundation, the next part is where things get very real. Because it starts with a small sign most people ignore until it's too late. Not long after that realization, something else started happening. And this was the part I almost ignored. It didn't happen during my walks. It happened at home, in the moments no one talks about. Standing up from a chair took just a little more effort. Not dramatic, just enough to notice. Reaching down to tie my shoes required more focus than before. Turning quickly in the kitchen felt delayed. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself everyone slows down after 75. But what unsettled me wasn't weakness. It was inconsistency. Some days felt fine. Other days, my legs felt heavy, almost disconnected, like the signal from my brain was arriving a second too late. That's when doubt crept in. I remember one specific moment. I was carrying groceries and had to step sideways to avoid a rug. It wasn't a big movement, but I felt unstable for a split second. That tiny wobble stayed with me all day. It wasn't fear yet, but it was awareness. And awareness changes everything. I started noticing patterns. Walking straight ahead felt okay, but movements that required control, standing, shifting weight, turning, stopping, felt unpredictable. That's when I understood something important. Walking trains forward motion. But life doesn't move in straight lines. Most daily activities after 75 depend on balance, circulation, and coordinated strength. Getting out of bed, using the bathroom at night, stepping off a curb, recovering if you trip. These moments don't give you time to think. Your body has to respond instantly. What worried me most was how quietly this decline happens. No pain, no injury, just subtle compensation. Using armrests more often, avoiding uneven ground, taking smaller steps without realizing it. I saw this in myself, and in people around me who still believed they were active enough. The truth hit hard. I wasn't losing ability because I stopped moving. I was losing it because I wasn't training the right systems anymore. Circulation deep in the legs, stabilizing muscles, neurological control. Those systems fade fastest with age, and walking barely challenges them. That's when I stopped asking, "How much do I walk?" and started asking a far more important question. What exactly is my body no longer being asked to do? The answer to that question led me to a discovery that completely changed how I move, and why walking alone was never designed to protect us after 75. Once I started asking that new question, what exactly is my body no longer being asked to do? Everything shifted. I didn't stop walking, but I stopped assuming walking was training my body the way it used to. And that distinction changed how I saw aging altogether. Walking is rhythmic, predictable, forward. After 75, that becomes both its strength and its weakness. My body had adapted so well to that single pattern that it no longer needed to wake up deeper systems to perform it. My legs moved, but my stabilizing muscles stayed quiet. My circulation flowed just enough but not deeply. My brain wasn't being challenged to correct balance, react quickly, or coordinate complex movements. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. Walking was maintaining a habit, not preserving function. The aging body doesn't lose strength evenly, it loses reactivity first. The fast stabilizers around the ankles and hips, the muscles that catch you when you stumble, the neurological signals that keep posture upright without thinking. Walking forward on flat ground barely touches those systems, and after years of repetition, it stops stimulating them at all. I began paying attention to how my body felt during the walk versus after. During the walk, everything felt fine, but afterward there was no sense of activation, no feeling of lightness, no improved control, just fatigue. And fatigue without activation is a warning sign after 75. What surprised me most was learning that many falls don't happen during long walks. They happen while turning, stopping, standing up, or stepping sideways. Movements walking never trains. That's when it clicked. I wasn't training for life anymore. I was training for a single motion. This wasn't about walking being bad. It was about walking being incomplete once the body reaches a certain stage. After 75, the body needs reminders. Reminders of balance, of coordination, of controlled effort. Without those reminders, independence slowly slips away, even in people who stay active. That realization didn't scare me. It focused me. Because if walking wasn't addressing what I was losing, then the solution wasn't more walking. It was different movement. And that led me to a simple exercise I almost dismissed at first, until I felt what it activated in my body within days. When I first heard about this exercise, I almost ignored it. It looked too simple, too ordinary. Nothing like the long walks I had trusted for years. And that's exactly why it worked. I started cautiously. No equipment, no strain. Just a controlled movement that forced my body to do something walking never asked of it. Support itself in stillness, shift weight deliberately, and stabilize from the inside out. The first time I did it, I felt something immediately. Not exhaustion, but awakening. My feet pressed into the ground differently. My ankles worked harder. My hips engaged in a way I hadn't felt in years. And my core, the quiet center that keeps everything connected, suddenly mattered again. It was subtle, but unmistakable. This wasn't about speed or distance. It was about control. What surprised me most was how quickly my circulation responded. Within minutes, my legs felt warmer, lighter, not pumped, alive. Walking always warmed me up eventually, but this felt deeper, like blood was reaching places it had been skipping for a long time. I wasn't out of breath. I wasn't tired, but my body was clearly working harder where it counts after 75. Balance became part of the movement automatically. I had to pay attention. I had to stay present. That alone changed everything. Walking lets your mind wander. This exercise demanded awareness. And awareness is exactly what prevents falls. The first few days, I noticed how steady I felt afterward. Standing up felt smoother. Turning felt more controlled. Even small movements around the house felt more confident. Not stronger in a dramatic way, just more reliable. That's when I understood why this worked better than walking for me. It trained the systems that age silences first: stabilizers, posture, coordination, and deep circulation. It wasn't aggressive, it wasn't risky, but it spoke directly to what my body had been quietly losing. I didn't replace walking. I complemented it. And the combination felt completely different from anything I had done before. This wasn't exercise for fitness. It was movement for independence. What happened next convinced me I was finally on the right path. Because the changes I felt in the following weeks were unlike anything walking alone had ever given me. About 2 weeks in, something changed. And it wasn't dramatic enough to brag about, but it was real enough that I couldn't ignore it. My legs felt different when I woke up. Not lighter in a superficial way, but more ready. As if my body didn't need as much time to warm up before functioning. Before, mornings were stiff. I would walk it off. Now, after consistently doing that simple exercise, standing up from bed felt smoother. My feet found the floor with more certainty. That quiet hesitation I used to feel, that tiny pause before trusting my balance, started fading. The most surprising change was confidence while moving. I didn't realize how much mental energy I had been using just to stay steady. Turning around in tight spaces, stepping sideways, reaching while standing. Those movements stopped feeling like calculations and started feeling natural again. My circulation improved in a way walking never achieved. The heaviness in my lower legs eased. My feet felt warmer, especially in the evenings. Even after sitting for a while, standing up didn't come with that sluggish, disconnected sensation anymore. Blood flow felt responsive, not delayed. I also noticed something important. Fatigue changed character. Walking used to make me tired without making me feel more capable. This exercise did the opposite. I felt activated, not drained. Energized, not exhausted. That distinction matters after 75, because energy is not just about endurance, it's about control. What truly confirmed I was on the right track was how my balance improved without me consciously training balance. It happened naturally because my body was being asked to stabilize, adjust, and respond. The systems that protect you from falling don't respond to repetition. They respond to challenge. And here's the key insight most people miss. These changes didn't come from pushing harder. They came from moving smarter, from waking up muscles and neural pathways walking had put to sleep. That's when I realized this wasn't just about feeling better. It was about protecting something far more valuable: my ability to live on my own terms. And that leads directly to the most important reason this exercise matters after 75. Because it protects autonomy in a way walking simply cannot. This is the part most people don't talk about, because it's uncomfortable. After 75, the real fear isn't weakness. It's dependence. It's the quiet thought that one fall, one bad moment, could change where and how you live forever. What this exercise gave me wasn't just stronger legs or better circulation. It gave me margin. Margin is the space between a small mistake and a serious consequence. Walking never gave me that. It kept me moving, but it didn't prepare me for the unexpected. Independence after 75 depends on a few critical systems working together: balance, reaction speed, postural control, and confidence. If even one of those weakens, daily life becomes cautious, and cautious living slowly shrinks your world. This exercise trained my body to respond, not just repeat. It forced my nervous system to stay alert, to make micro adjustments, to correct posture before I even noticed it was off. That's exactly what saves you when you trip on a rug, turn too quickly, or step on uneven ground. What struck me most was how this changed my relationship with fear. I wasn't fearless. I was prepared. I trusted my body again. And trust changes behavior. I stopped avoiding certain movements. I stopped bracing myself mentally before simple actions. That alone restored a sense of freedom I didn't realize I had lost. Walking is passive after a certain age. Life is not. Life demands balance when you least expect it. At night, in tight spaces, when carrying something, when you're tired. This exercise spoke directly to those moments. I realized that independence isn't preserved by how far you can walk. It's preserved by how well you can recover. Recover your balance. Recover your posture. Recover control when something goes wrong. That's why this mattered so deeply to me. It wasn't about adding years to my life. It was about protecting how I live those years. On my feet, in my home, on my terms. And that brings me to a decision I never thought I'd make. Because once I understood this, I could never go back to relying on walking alone. Once I understood what was really happening to my body, the decision was inevitable. I didn't quit walking, but I stopped depending on it. Walking became something I enjoyed, not something I trusted to protect my future. I rebuilt my routine around that simple exercise because it gave me what walking never could after 75. Stability, responsiveness, and confidence in my own movements. It didn't take much time, it didn't exhaust me, and most importantly, it respected the reality of an aging body instead of fighting it. What changed wasn't just physical. My mindset shifted. I stopped measuring my health by distance and steps and started measuring it by control. How easily I stood up, how steady I felt turning, how natural my movements were throughout the day. Those became my real markers of health. I noticed something else too. People around me assumed I was just aging well. They didn't see the quiet work happening underneath, the daily investment in balance, circulation, and functional strength. And that's the point. The best kind of prevention is invisible. Walking alone had kept me active. This approach keeps me capable. And capability is what allows you to live independently long after 75. I share this because too many people are doing everything they were told to do, walking every day, and still slowly losing autonomy. Not because they're failing, but because the advice stopped evolving while their bodies did. If you're over 75 and still walking, that's good. But if you want to keep getting up without effort, turning without hesitation, and living without fear of a single wrong step, walking can't be the only answer anymore. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing what actually works at this stage of life. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, that already says something important about you. It means you care about staying in control of your body and your life, even after 75. Now, I want you to do 3 simple things. First, subscribe to the channel. This space exists for people who want to protect their balance, circulation, and independence using movements and habits that actually work at this stage of life. Second, hit the like button. It helps this message reach other seniors who are quietly wondering why walking no longer feels like enough. And third, this part matters. Leave a comment below and write exactly this. I choose control over decline. That comment tells me you're serious, and it tells others they're not alone in wanting to stay strong and independent. Finally, don't stop here. The next video appearing on your screen goes deeper into simple movements and daily habits that protect your legs, balance, and confidence after 75. Click it and keep building the body that will carry you safely through the years ahead.